She thought she won the man, but what she really won was his chaos, his karma, and his consequences. Stay right here, because what I'm about to say will change the way you look at winning someone else's love forever. Arionne Curry out here moving like the world owes her something. But let's be real, no one wronged her. No one tricked her. She willingly stepped into a situation that already belonged to someone else. Melody Shari didn't seek her out or start that drama. Martel Holt did. He opened that door, but she kept walking through it. She kept answering the calls, kept letting him come around, and every time she could have walked away, she chose to stay. So what's the outrage now? What's the shock? Why play the victim in a story you helped write? You're talking about revenge, but revenge for what? Melody didn't do anything to you. She was simply living her life in the marriage she already had. The truth is, the energy you're giving isn't confidence, it's chaos. That smugness, that bragging, that I won attitude, it's not strength, it's denial. You didn't win a prize. You picked up someone else's pain. Let's be honest, no one even knew who Arionne Curry was until she made herself the headline. Nobody was chasing her name. The show mentioned the situation, sure, but then it moved on. She's the one who kept the fire burning, logging online, throwing shade, and chasing attention. But here's the thing about the spotlight. It shines hot when your hands aren't clean. And now that the heat's turned up, she's crying foul. You can't crave attention and then crumble under the glare. People love to say, I was used. But no, this wasn't that. You wanted that man, that title, that validation. You wanted to be the chosen one. Yet Martel never truly chose anyone but himself. Melody walked away from that storm with grace. Head high, energy clear, doors opening left and right. Meanwhile, you're still standing in the wreckage pretending it's paradise. But the stress is visible. The exhaustion shows. The glow you wanted never came because peace doesn't live in chaos. Here's the lesson. Everything that glitters isn't gold. Sometimes when you think you're taking someone's place, what you're really inheriting is their heartbreak, their disappointment, their sleepless nights. Melody let that man go with calm in her spirit, and that peace said everything. She already knew she was releasing a burden, not a blessing. Now look at her, thriving, glowing, expanding, raising her kids, and living free. Meanwhile, you're holding on to a man who told you not to work, not out of love, but out of control. That's not romance. That's restriction. Real love uplifts you. It builds you, frees you, and breathes peace, not confusion. And that, right there, is the difference between being chosen and being chained. You're sitting there thinking you've won something. But every time Martel Holt mentions your name, every time he drags you into the spotlight, it doesn't look like love. It looks like control. It looks like confusion dressed up as connection. Every appearance, every live, every clip tells the same story. A woman trying to convince the world she's fine while her eyes tell on her. The exhaustion, the trembling voice, the unfiltered stress, that's not peace. And fake peace doesn't last long before the truth cracks it open. And that whole "he makes more than doctors" line? Come on now. What doctors? Because if there's so much money flowing, why was Melody sending food so the kids could eat? The math not mathing. Stay with me because this is bigger than gossip. This is a spiritual lesson. Sometimes the thing you think you stole as a blessing was actually a burden someone was grateful to release. Martel and Arionne love to push that us against the world story. But baby, it's not giving power couple. It's giving mutual chaos. That's not partnership. That's two people clinging to dysfunction. That's not love. That's trauma bonding. Pain linking with pain. When your relationship begins in secrets, deception, and ego, the foundation cracks before it's even built. Melody tried to fight for her peace, her kids, and her home. But when a woman finally sees truth for what it is and walks away, heaven clears her path. Meanwhile, someone else stands in that man's shadow thinking it's power, but not every woman was made to sit in suffering. Melody was made to rise, and she did. Now Arionne wants sympathy, but you can't beg for compassion after bragging about destruction. You can't laugh at a woman's pain and then cry when that same pain circles back to you. The man who lied for you will lie to you. The man who cheated with you will cheat on you. That's not shade, that's just logic. What's built on betrayal always breaks. And let's be real, stress tells its own story. When your spirit's heavy, it shows in your face. When your soul's restless, it shows in your eyes. Joy glows. Bitterness drains. Melody's light is proof. She's moving, shining, building, blessing others. Arionne, on the other hand, looks tense, defensive, tired. Because when God's not in something, it empties you, and don't get it twisted. Martel isn't escaping the fallout either. He's losing credibility, opportunities, and peace, because when you build anything on lies, it eventually collapses. That's not karma, that's consequence. You can't find right living wrong. You can't build joy from someone else's pain. Now, people love to say, let them be happy. But if that's happiness, who wants it? Real happiness doesn't hide, sneak, or attack others to survive. It doesn't need an audience to prove itself. You can't post your way into peace. You can't live stream your way into love. Happiness is quiet. It glows from within, not from validation, not from comparison, not from control. You wanted that man so badly that you accepted the pain attached to him. And now you're mad that the pain stayed? But the pain was part of the package. Melody handed him over with a calm heart. She knew exactly what she was letting go of. You picked him up thinking he was gold, but sometimes gold is just rust-sprayed yellow, and those friends exposing you in group chats? That's the universe revealing what's real. You knew who Martel and Melody were. You knew what you were stepping into. You thought you could become Melody 2.0, but you can't recreate a wife's worth through deception. You didn't take her crown, you picked up her storm. Melody left with her dignity. You stayed with the drama. Attention isn't honor. Virality isn't victory. You went public, but not with power, with pain. Fame without peace is just noise. And no man defines your value. Only God does. Martel didn't make you chosen. He made you visible for all the wrong reasons. Let's talk about that live you two did. It wasn't love, it was tension. You looked drained. He looked detached. That wasn't admiration, that was control. When a man says, I don't want you working, it's not always protection. Sometimes it's possession. Because freedom makes a woman powerful and control thrives in her weakness. The moment you see your strength, you'll see the truth. Listen, as long as you and Martel stay wrapped in that toxic circle, peace won't come. Blessings won't land. You can't build forever on betrayal. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you. You can't rise standing in lies. That's not hate. That's spiritual law. And to anyone watching this living in a similar storm, if you're with someone who lies, manipulates, drains, or isolates you, leave before it starts showing up in your face, your health, your spirit. Because love should lift you, not break you. And peace, real peace, never comes wrapped in pain. Don't let bitterness take root in your soul. Don't let exhaustion become your identity. Don't lose yourself trying to win someone who already lost themselves. Choose peace over pride every single time. And understand this, karma isn't punishment, it's education. Life doesn't lash out. It teaches. You can't destroy a blessing and expect to be blessed. You can't steal a husband and suddenly become a queen. You can't harm a woman with a pure heart and still walk away with joy. Life will show you. God will show you. Peace doesn't live in stolen homes. And sometimes the same door you break into becomes the one that locks you in. This message isn't about tearing anyone down. It's about reflection. If you ever feel like your life is stuck, like peace keeps slipping through your fingers, like blessings seem delayed, take a moment and check your heart. Check your actions, your intentions, your energy, and how you treat people. Because God doesn't bless confusion, and He will never reward pain that's given on purpose. Stay grounded, stay aware, and remember, the person who breaks a home never finds peace inside one. That's not shade, that's truth born from experience. And yes, people can change. Growth is real. But real change doesn't happen in denial. It doesn't bloom while you're still sitting in the same mess that broke you. True transformation begins when the excuses stop, when the shade fades, and when you're brave enough to tell yourself the truth, even when it cuts deep. Right now, what we're seeing isn't growth. It's pride dressed up as progress. It's someone trying to convince the world that God is blessing a situation He never built. You can speak affirmations all day long, but you can't manifest peace inside chaos. That's not faith, that's delusion wearing hope as perfume. And here's the part that hits home for so many women. You may not be living your pain on television, but you've lived it in silence. Staying in a relationship because you believe he'll change. Trusting his words while ignoring his actions. Fighting other women instead of facing the truth. Calling control protection and mistaking emotional struggle for love. All the while, losing your time, your glow, your peace, and the love you should have been giving yourself. That's the real heartbreak. Being loyal to the wrong man until you forget what being loved right feels like. That's why Melody said, "I'm done." She didn't just walk away from Martel. She walked away from the pain, the lies, and the weight that came with pretending things were fine. And look at her now. When you step away from what breaks you, God meets you with blessings that heal you. That's why she's glowing, working, thriving, building, and smiling again. She chose peace. She chose her kids. She chose her self-respect. And when a woman makes those choices, life rewards her. Meanwhile, those who laughed at her pain are now learning through their own. That's why I always say, don't envy the woman who gets the man after betrayal. Envy the woman who walks away from the mess and glows. Because the one who laughs loudest early on is usually the one crying hardest later. Silence speaks, and Melody's silence is louder than any live rant ever could be. That's what happens when you stop fighting for revenge and let God fight your battles. And don't get it twisted. Martel didn't win either. A man who breaks his home loses his future, whether he realizes it now or later. You cannot plant hurt and harvest happiness. You can't chase clout and expect legacy. He had a woman who prayed for him, built with him, protected his name, birthed his children, and still, he chose ego. And now he's standing in the ruins of what could have been, trying to look royal among the rubble. He traded gold for glitter, and the shine wore off. So let this be your reminder. Peace isn't found in possession, status, or control. It's found in alignment, in choosing yourself, in protecting your spirit, and in walking away from anything that dims your light. Because when you leave what breaks you, God rushes to meet you with everything that will build you.
I'm speaking about your interviews. I'm not talking about the...
It don't matter about interviews, sweetheart, because we're talking about the public platform that put me on, that that wants to discuss me, that wants to talk about me, but don't want me to speak for myself. So we don't care about the public interviews that I that I did. You see what I'm saying? We're literally talking about only way you can know me, which is not given a fair chance, but has gave everybody else a fair chance to tell their story.
That's not how I feel like I know you from the show. I feel like I knew of you, but then when I came to your page and I started following you and I started watching your lives and things of that nature.
You felt me always being on the fence mode. You looked at me always being on the fence mode. You never even see me even giving a fuck, because I'm gonna be honest, it took me 2 years to even say something. You didn't even know me until Martel called me a peasant, because I didn't even give a fuck about Martel being on TV trying to be famous. Martel, do what you do. This what you need to do. Do what you do.
So you don't feel like you played no part. You weren't hurt. Now Martel motherfucking me wrong. Point blank period. He stepped out on his wife, and if it was my husband, I wouldn't fault you because he stepped outside.
But then she say that I wasn't the only one. So why the fuck do y'all give a fuck about me?
I don't.
Did she say it was sad for women? So why are y'all coming for me?
All right, she do. I'm not coming for you because
I'm not saying you are, but we just don't lie with 1,000 people. So since we gonna have us a transparent conversation in front of everybody.
Okay, I get you. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, and I'm not trying to use you or not.
Arionne began by explaining that no one really knew who she was until Martel called her a peasant. She said she never cared about his fame or his time on television. That wasn't her world. Martel did what he did, she said firmly. He stepped outside his marriage, and that's on him. If it were my husband, I wouldn't blame the other woman. I'd hold my husband accountable. Arionne reminded everyone that even Melody herself had admitted there were other women. So she didn't understand why so much hate was directed specifically at her. The conversation shifted when a few women on the live, wives who had been married for years, joined in. They said they weren't trying to attack her, but wanted to have a real open conversation. One of them told her, "I think the reason a lot of wives feel some type of way is because it doesn't seem like you've ever really taken accountability for your part." Arionne pushed back. "Have I not taken accountability? Or did y'all start talking about me on TV without ever giving me a chance to speak? That show was supposed to be about real estate, not my life. I didn't even know I was going to be discussed." The woman nodded, agreeing that Arionne should have been given a chance to share her perspective, saying, "Honestly, you should have been part of the show. When people are constantly talking about you, you deserve a platform to respond." Arionne appreciated the acknowledgement, saying, "Thank you." I don't care about being added now, but I appreciate you saying that, the wife continued, gently but honestly. You're beautiful. You've got personality, potential, and a business of your own. You're not some lost girl. You just got caught up in a messy situation. I think it's time to move on from it, though. You deserve peace and better energy. Another woman, also married for over a decade, agreed. You really do have a lot going for yourself. Don't let this situation define you. At one point, Arionne asked directly, "Why does everyone keep saying I haven't moved on with my life? Y'all are the ones watching a TV show I'm not even part of. How am I the one stuck?" The wives clarified that it wasn't about television. "We're not talking about the show," one of them explained. "We're talking about what we see from you online. Sometimes it feels like you're still trying to defend what happened instead of just owning it and healing from it." Arionne paused and asked, "So what do you actually want to see from me?" The woman responded sincerely, "Just honesty. Just you saying, 'Yes, that happened. It wasn't right. I've learned from it, and I've moved forward.' You don't owe us anything, but owning your truth brings healing." Arionne's tone softened. "You feel like I need to apologize, not to y'all personally, but to God. And maybe you're right." And in that quiet moment, the tension eased. The conversation that started as confrontation became reflection, not about who was right or wrong, but about accountability, grace, and growth. It was clear that beneath all the drama, there was a deeper truth. Everyone in that conversation had been touched by love, pain, or betrayal in some way. And even though they stood on different sides of the story, they were all, in their own way, just trying to heal. The conversation grew more intense as one of the women spoke up again. "It's not that people hate you," she said. "It's just that sometimes when you talk about what happened, it sounds like you're trying to justify it. Like, you'll say, 'Yes, I was wrong for being with a married man,' but then it turns into, 'I was young,' or 'he was pursuing me,' or 'he told me he wasn't happy.' It always comes with a but." Arionne listened quietly before responding. "So what y'all want me to say? That I was 24, he was 10 years older, and I was wrong for getting involved with a married man? I can say that. I've said it before." The woman shook her head gently. "No, what we're saying is that we want to hear you own it, fully. Without a but, without justification. Just, I was wrong, period. That's it. That's all some of us want to hear. Because when you add anything after that, it sounds like you're trying to soften the truth." Arionne sighed. "But y'all act like I never take accountability. I do. I've admitted my part more than once. But what about him? Why is it always on the woman to carry all the blame? When do y'all ask a husband to take accountability for pursuing someone younger?" One of the wives replied, calm but firm. "I can't make my husband take accountability. That's between him and God. But this conversation isn't about him. It's about you. That's where we're trying to stay. You keep circling it back to the man, but right now we're talking about your part." Another woman, Gigi, jumped in. "Look, I actually like you, Arionne. I don't hate you at all. I'm a Virgo too," she said with a half smile, trying to lighten the moment. "And even though I've never dealt with infidelity in my marriage, I know if I ever did, I'd look at myself first. I wouldn't go after the other woman. I'd look at what's happening in my home. But I'd still hope that woman could one day say, 'Yeah, I was wrong,' and grow from it." Arionne nodded slowly. "I hear that. But y'all don't understand the mindset I was in. Everyone's been painting me a certain way for years. It's not about perception, it's about what really happened. People only know my name because of him, and for 2 years, that's all anyone talked about." One of the women leaned in. "Okay, but let's talk about facts then. Is it true that you were involved with him knowing he was married?" Arionne hesitated for a second before answering honestly. "At the beginning, no. I didn't know. But later, yes, I did find out. And by then, I already had feelings. It wasn't simple. I'm not gonna pretend I was perfect. He made me feel special, sent flowers, made promises, said his marriage was over. I believed him. I was young and I got caught up," the woman nodded. "I believe you. I really do. I think you were manipulated, and I think he fed you a story. But from a wife's perspective, once you knew, that's when we wanted to see you walk away, or at least stop defending it. That's the part that hurt." There was a long pause before Arionne spoke again. "I get it," she said quietly. "I should have walked away sooner. I should have known better. But I didn't. And looking back now, I can admit, I lost myself trying to love a man who wasn't mine to love. The woman smiled softly. That's it. That's all anyone wanted to hear. That's growth. Arionne exhaled deeply, as if finally letting go of something heavy. Yeah, she said. It took me a long time to see that. But I see it now. The conversation grew heavier as voices overlapped, emotions rising. One of the women leaned forward, speaking firmly but without anger. That's what I didn't like about it, Arionne. You knew what he was doing. You knew he was wrong. And yes, I've been manipulated before too. We all have at some point. But you can't use that forever as a shield. Arionne's voice cracked slightly as she interrupted. Have you ever been manipulated by a man? Like really manipulated? Yes, one of them replied softly. Then don't judge me, Arionne shot back, frustration spilling over. Y'all don't understand. You come at me so hard, judging me like you never made mistakes. Her tone wavered between hurt and anger. I'm human too. Everyone's got something. But when it's me, it's like I'm the only one who ever did wrong. The women tried to calm her down. We're not judging you, Arionne, one said gently. It's not about judging. It's about seeing how you move forward. The whole world knows part of your story, but they don't know all of it. We don't either. That's why we're talking. Another woman added, we just noticed that sometimes you say one thing, then defend it in the next breath. You'll admit something, but then start explaining it away. You don't have to be so defensive. Most of us actually feel for you, but when you lash out, it feels like you're taking it out on the wives instead of the man who hurt you. Arionne leaned forward, eyes narrowing slightly. But see, that's what I don't get. Y'all keep saying I take it out on wives, but the truth is, it's women like y'all who always take it out on the other woman. Y'all don't hold your husbands accountable for stepping out. Y'all blame the girl. One of the wives raised a hand gently. I wouldn't. If my husband ever cheated, I wouldn't blame the woman. I'd look at him. But what we're saying right now isn't about him. It's about you. You always want to bring it back to the husband. But this conversation is about your part, your healing. I hear you, Arionne said, voice softening for a moment. But y'all act like I never took responsibility. I've said I was wrong. I've said that man had my head messed up. I've said I shouldn't have done it. But every time I talk, people twist it into something else. One of them nodded. I get that the blogs and YouTubers make it worse. They pull what they want and leave out the rest. But from woman to woman, we just want to hear you say, without explanation, I was wrong. Not, I was wrong, but just, I was wrong. That's where healing starts. Arionne sighed and rubbed her forehead. Maybe I have said it, maybe people just don't listen. But yes, I was wrong for being with a married man. I was young, I was in love, and I made mistakes. I thought what we had was real, and I believed what he told me. That's my truth. The tension in the room softened for a moment. One of the wives gave a small, understanding nod. That's all anyone needed to hear, Arionne. Nobody's perfect. But accountability opens the door for peace, not for them, for you. Arionne nodded, her expression quiet but thoughtful. Yeah, she murmured. I guess it's time to finally close that chapter for real.